Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Not your usual high production value, but I've just done the kickoff with the boys, obviously up in the apartment, and we've been watching the Arsenal-Liverpool game. Arsenal losing 3-0. Very, very comfortable victory for Liverpool. So I thought I'd just give you my thoughts on the game, because I thought, I'll tell you what, Arsenal, I think all of these big games against the big six, you're always looking for just ways to kind of claw yourself back to being where you want to be and signs of hope. This game was obviously not one of those. I thought a big problem, of course, is not having Kieran Tierney. Once you lose him, you lose a lot of your attacking thrust, your ability to create overloads down that left-hand side. Massive, massive loss for them. And I think the game plan for Arteta was probably just to contain Liverpool in the first half, and in the second half, see what they could do, maybe kind of with the players that they were able to bring on that might be able to make a bit of a difference for them. But 3 shots in the entire game, and that's kind of said it all, really. 35% possession, 65, of course, to Liverpool, who were really good, really good. And I think this can't be underestimated. And I think if you're a Liverpool fan, this was absolutely everything you were hoping and praying for, because there'd been so much difficulty. And I said on the kickoff itself, I think Klopp deserves an element of critique for the fact that he made a call in terms of playing, say, Henderson as a centre-back and Fabinho as a centre-back, but he got it wrong. And it took a little bit too long, in my opinion, for him to make that change. But he has made that change now. Obviously bringing Kabak makes a massive difference there. But you could have played anyone at centre-back today. And actually, I think Kabak did play well, to be fair. Phillips, again, is continuing to play well. But they're not having to do that much. And the reason they're not having to do that much is due to the exact philosophy that Klopp has always put forward, which is defend high up the pitch. Don't allow teams to get in behind you. Press them high. And all of those things were happening today. And I used the word familiar on the show. And it was a familiar performance from Liverpool. Something that you've expected for a long time. And you're seeing that again. And I've got to say, I know I rave about him as a defensive midfielder. And I think my estimations of him have actually gone up sort of twofold, threefold in this season, because I like him at centre-back, and I think he's had good moments as a centre-back, but he's always a midfielder who can do a great job as a centre-back. But Fabinho is truly the catalyst for all that good play that you see from Liverpool. I think there's a lot of elements, to be fair. It's not just Fabinho, but Fabinho was my man of the match. Let me know yours in the comments below. And also, guys, make sure if you're new, don't worry, check out some of the other videos. They won't look like this. But subscribe to the channel. Let's keep it moving forward. And also, guys, more importantly, if you're one of those who got me to 100k, then make sure you hit the notification bell, because my aim now is to make content that you guys like. Not always in a car park, but you guys are so important. So if you haven't hit the notification bell, that does me so much good, because basically, you get notified straight away and it shows that people like the videos. So if you have subscribed, please do that for me. I'd really appreciate it. But Fabinho was great. I just think he just adds so much. He creates so much peace, such a great, like, almost foundation kind of before that last line of defence that is Phillips and Kabak. I thought Trent was great as well. I think from an attacking point of view, you saw what he can deliver, quite literally with that goal for Jota. And moving up the pitch, he started Firmino in this one. And I think obviously he needs to utilise his squad correctly. I was reading an article earlier in the week, and it was interesting to highlight that actually the substitutes have done really well for Liverpool this season. Obviously, a lot of those have been enhanced throughout the season, and different teams have different strategies. Man City have been dominating games and could have probably made more substitutes, but they don't always use their substitutes. They'll kind of rotate the team completely. Liverpool don't have that luxury, so they have to utilise the squad that they've got, and massively did so, with Jota coming in and scoring 2 goals for them. I really do think he is the real deal for them. Again, another thing I said on the kickoff, I think that it's a point that we didn't get to, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this, because Firmino, just because you're saying Jota is maybe the starter now, doesn't mean that Firmino's bad. What I'm saying is that there has to come a moment where there is a changing of the guard. And that's a healthy thing, because you have to keep evolving, right? And for me, Jota, time and again, it's not 5-6 games of form now. He comes on and he makes a massive difference. Do you look at it from the fact that let's utilise all that brilliance of Firmino in terms of his hold-up play and then finish him off in the last 30 games? I think that's a very bold choice to make. And I think Jota really is just getting better and better and playing when he does play for a better team. And I think some people are kind of wary of this happening, because they think of Jota as a left-sided midfielder, or they're so used to Firmino and what he brings to the team, and that doesn't totally go away. And I think you'll see more of his brilliance because of having Fabinho back in that midfield, because you can see better stuff from Thiago as well. But I do think, why not have it all? And Jota, for me, in terms of goals, is bringing you everything. And you've got someone like Thiago who can kind of move the play quickly and play those players in. You can still get those overloads on both sides with Trent and Salah and Robertson and Mane. But I just think Jota is the starter for me now. And it's not the fact that Firmino's not a legend for the club. He is a legend for the club. But things change, and I just think, again, if Jota, you start next season, Jota's terrible and Firmino comes in and he's brilliant, you change it again. These changes are allowed to be made. But I think the great headache that Klopp's got here is, he's utilised a lot of his squad today, and he's got the victory. And I think that's the most important thing, because energy comes from winning those games. And for Liverpool fans, they would have gone, this team needs a bit of a refresh, and they need to almost not be staring at the Premier League table and dealing with Premier League questions. Just that space to go away, maybe focus on international duty and go and get some goals there. Jota's certainly done that. Trent's been able to have a break. And I think that's the last player that I really want to focus on. I thought Salah was good at times as well. I was unlucky not to have more goals. Obviously scored one, set up one for Mane. Leno was pretty poor for Arsenal. But final thing on Liverpool is that I think Trent really, really looked menacing today with his attacking output. I think that's something that Liverpool fans have got to be excited for. I think they can see the finish line now on what's been such an awkward season for them. And that's big, For Arsenal, that's a really disappointing performance, because I think you want to see a little bit more motivation and excitement at the opportunity of playing a team that isn't the Liverpool that was before, and you allowed them to kind of revert back to that. Maybe that's due to that kind of reverting to having Fabinho back in the midfield. Maybe it's just Arsenal actually not being able to sort of step up to that level. Look, some people might say Partey and Xhaka would be a much better midfield too. But, you guys know how I feel about Xhaka. And also, I expected a little bit more going forward with someone like Ceballos, because I think he's one of the best interceptors for Arsenal this season. So defensively, he does offer something. But with the ball, I think he's quite good at moving, taking players out of the game, dealing with a press, and then getting the ball to someone like Odegaard. That didn't happen at all. And I thought Arsenal were just terrible in the transition. Which is what they were going to be relying upon. I think that's what they were looking for with this game. They were going to have to deal with the dominance of Liverpool at times when it came to possession. But could they offer something going in the opposite direction? And they didn't offer that really at any time. Really, really poor from them. I mean, first half, they sort of hung in there, didn't they? And again, it all comes down to the result at the end of it. So when it's 3-0, then obviously it looks a lot worse than it was. But throughout, it was pretty comfortable from Liverpool. I do go back to that one shot in the first half, 2 shots in the second half. I think it was 2 shots on target in the entire game. Just not really offering the quality that you would have liked to have seen, that you have seen in some games. And they are porous, aren't they, Arsenal at the back? That is a real problem that they need to sort out. They've been linked with Zagadou, who's obviously injured, and it's a difficult one. But I like that they're looking at those kind of players. For Arsenal, there is a very long rebuild happening here. And I do, for this game itself, I look at Tierney and I think that is a massive, massive loss for how Arsenal want to operate and be effective, but also defensively sound. But there are still some big, big moves and changes that need to be made. And actually, the players that Arsenal are then going to bring in might not be the same names as before. And so you almost just have to get through this season, do the best that you can in Europa League. I can't see them, finishing in the European places personally. I also can't see them winning the Europa League. And so it will be seen as a failure. But I think if you can, by the start of the next season, see this Arsenal squad, and I think just anything that has experience in the title when it comes to a player, almost, I think, forget about it. I think double down on youth, because those are the most exciting players that you've got. And be it in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, you'll both have, if you can hang on to Arteta and Arteta can hang on to his job, a much more experienced manager and a team that had potential and then became great. Because Arsenal don't have the money right now. And still, they've got a lot of players. Ceballos, Odegaard, 2 players they're not going to have at the end of this season. Lacazette, you're not sure about that as well. A lot of players that need to sort of either make a decision or be moved out. Because, you know, even if some of those players do stay, like Ceballos, for example, is he really worth keeping when you could try and go and get someone else? So many questions for Arsenal long term. In this specific game, there was a clear game plan. It didn't work. And it will disappoint Arsenal fans at just how comfortable it was for Liverpool. They didn't even give them much of a sort of bloody nose, really, in a game where they were, you know, they're still playing against 2 very inexperienced centre-backs and they couldn't get anywhere near them. Brilliant for Liverpool. Klopp's got to be delighted, especially with that game coming so thick and fast. But Arsenal, really, really poor. Really, really poor. Let me know what you think. Who was your man of the match? For me, it was Fabinho. But let me know who you thought was your man of the match in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys very, very soon.